And the last 16 of those years, they've been enriching lives through Premier. Listen to this. They started Premier when their kiddos were 6 years old, 4 years old, and 6 months. Right? And now John is 23. He is in a doctoral program at IU. How exciting is that? Julia is 21. She's finishing her last year in nursing. Will is 16, a junior in high school. Who knows? Maybe he'll be a lawyer. Then you got it all covered, right? Doctor,
engineer.
Nurse, lawyer.
He wants to be an engineer.
Engineer. Okay, we got it all. We got it all. So Jane was a recovery room nurse and loved her profession, but wanted more flexibility, right? To have what? More time with her children. Does that sound familiar? Because pretty much everybody in here wants that. Jane's passion is allowing women to become the best versions of themselves, inside and out, and stretching women to accomplish their God-given potential. And you know what? That's exactly what Premier has done for Jane. And she's truly grateful for Premier and everything that it stands for. Let's give Jane a big Chicago welcome!
Your attention. So I'm going to kind of tell you how it's going to roll, okay? Had anybody heard that we've been doing these Haven retreats, kind of sharing this message across the board? Some of you have been there. Who's been there? You. Oh my gosh! You guys are back for more.
Not the style ones. Not the style.
The style ones. The regular Haven. So anyway, we've trained over now 400 leaders in Premier, kind of this whole style approach, right? Does this mean it's the only way to do your business? No. It just means that if you are looking for additional ways to serve your customer, this is a very significant way to do that and something you should consider, right? And so I always say, you cannot criticize what you do not know anything about. So you have to educate yourself so you can understand, this sounds, I hope that's not my phone. What it's all about. And I think through today, I'm so proud that you all took the time to invest in your business. I believe, and here's the thing about me, you guys. I'm a nurse by trade, okay? Any nurses in the room? Taking a picture. Any nurses? I'm kind of a straight shooter. I don't say what I don't mean. I don't mean what I don't say. So I will tell you what I really think, okay? But I'll say it with lots of love because that's kind of my nurse nature. But I will tell you, I have never been more excited about what the possibilities are in Premier than right now. And I know some of you are thinking, she's crazy, right? But through today, I hope your vision becomes stronger and clearer, and that's what I'm so excited about, for you to see what I can see, okay? So, but before we get started, I'm going to start with really the beginning of this whole journey, okay? And what do I mean by that? I believe that God, first of all, we all have a story, okay? And God is the author of our story. And He puts people in our past. He puts experiences in our past, good and bad, right? To develop us for the next path, right? And so if you ever take the time to thread your own story, how many have ever really taken the time to do that? Pay attention, go from childhood to now, and look and say, I can kind of see what God is trying to show me. Anybody ever done that? It's powerful. Two big, really authors, spiritual authors that I really enjoy are Matthew Kelly and Rick Warren. And Rick Warren has a book out I read about 10 years ago called Purpose-Driven Life, and how you have to live your life with purpose and intention. So people who are purpose-driven see the end in mind, all the way to the end. They see heaven and eternity, and they back their life up from that, and they live their life accordingly. All right? And so there are a lot of people in our world right now who live very, day-to-day kind of thing, but they really have never thought, hey, what's my purpose? What has God called me here to do? Because he wants to make you the best version of yourself so you can go out and do his work for others. That's what the mission is. That's why we were created. And so to really clearly understand that, I'm going to tell you my story from my childhood. So you can see, how in the heck did we get from there to here? And you're going to see how many things were weaved, good and bad, in my life, and how I got into Premier and where we're at in the journey with this whole style approach. Okay? So let's look at the very first slide. This one's pretty powerful. This is Matthew Kelly. Take time to reflect on your story, the story of your life. If not, you may lose the thread of your entire life. See your source of identity and your purpose. It's pretty powerful. So we'll move to the next. There's 3 principles clearly that God has shown me through my life that it's kind of like ding, 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 Jane. You better figure, this is definitely, you have to understand this. And one is to lead a purpose-driven legacy. Okay? Number 2 is get beyond you, Jane. Life's not about you. 3, become a better version of yourself, allowing others to become the best versions of themselves. 4, I want you to be a continuous student. 5, be obsessed with serving. So those are the 5 big principles and the takeaway that God has showed me through my life, through the thread of my life, that have really been clear as I reflect and pray and think about everything he has done and the people and the situations in my life. So let's go to the very first. Lead a purpose-driven legacy. Well, listen, I'm going to start with the 2 mentors in my life, right? The first were my parents. Ann and Bud Mossing. We lived in a very rural, small town. In a rural town of about 1,000 people in this country little area, all right? The only thing our little town had was a church. It was a Catholic church, and it was built by one of the builders was my great-great-grandfather from Germany. So that church was very special to our family. And that, we didn't even have a post office. It was so small. But I'm one of 13 children. So I'm number 9 in the lineup. My mom and dad had 10 children by the time they were 29 years old and 30. You want to talk about what that looks like. We'll talk about it in a second. But the point in the message is they lived a purpose-driven life. They believed God had called them to always have a large family. So they trusted that. You don't know how many people throughout my lifetime would say, do your mom and dad know how that happened? Like, do they know what they're doing? Like, why are they doing that? And the crazy thing is, all 13 of us, I would say 12 of the 13 all leadership are in, you either have our own businesses, lead at a high level. I have 4 brothers and sisters that are doctors. So they're all leaders in their field. Okay? So they should have wrote a book just how to raise kids. Right? Were we perfect? Heck no. I was probably the biggest brat of them all. Okay? I wanted life to be about me. I threw temper tantrums all the time as a kid. I had my sister, the 10th one, my sister Carol, was born 10 months after me. So I was born in February of 1968. She was born in December of that same year in 68. So I was throwing the temper tantrum saying, Mom, can I be an only child for a day? And when I would go to my grandma's, I felt like life was about me there for a day. Right? But anybody that comes from a large family, what you realize really quick is that life isn't about you. And I didn't necessarily like it, guys. All right? I had to share. I had to get along with a lot of people. I had 5 minutes in the shower. I had to be respectful of thinking about, how much I ate, because you can't eat too much. We grew up on hand-me-downs. We didn't buy things new. We never got things new. The only times we got things new was at Christmas. We never went on vacations, okay? But listen to what my mentors did. We didn't think we didn't have much, but as a family, we thought we had the world. You know why? Because we had what mattered. We had tons of love, tons of stability, our strong faith, which is what my parents put at the forefront of everything in their life. And they sent us all to Catholic schools. So they would go paycheck to paycheck, almost, broke after being broke after being broke. But they would invest in that because they invested on what? On what matters. They invested on the inside of us. Because when you think of mentors in your life, and I'm going to ask you guys, when you think of the mentors in your life, right, you think of people who have made an impact on you. It wasn't necessarily that they had an awesome car and they had a really great title and they drove this big, or they had this big house, right? Because at the end of the day, guys, it doesn't matter. When you leave, here's the thing. Your life is this short in the grand scheme of things. Your legacy, your eternity, your eternity going to heaven is infinite, is huge. So you're living this small life for this big life. All right? So you got to live this life. You got one shot. There's no dress rehearsal in this life. This is it. So you got to live purpose-driven. You got to live for God. What is His will for you? Right? So when I got into Premier, when I found Premier at 34 years old, it was very attractive to me. Because guess what? I read the book By Chance or By Design, and Andy Horner sounded like my father. All right? And he was saying the same things, and I go, okay, God, I get it. Life's not about me. It's about serving. I get it. And if you knew Andy, to know Andy and to know Tim and Joan is that it didn't matter what kind of car you drove. It didn't matter what kind of house you had. It didn't matter. None of that mattered. What mattered is that Premier was a blessing to you. What mattered to Premier is that you have a relationship with God. What matters to Premier is that you live your life well for others. That's what matters. Do you guys understand? That focus is significant. There's not companies out there that do that. Okay? So that is, in its weight, is gold. All right? Yes, we need money to live and pay the bills. But if you truly live a purpose-driven life, God will provide. And it was evident in my own family because this is on a $40,000 salary that he raised 13 kids. Right? Put us all through Catholic school and lived a life worth living. So let's go to the next slide. Living in the light of eternity changes your priorities. So guess what happens? It's super easy to sift and sort your life when you're purpose-driven. So, for example, people say to me all the time, Jane, how did you grow in Premier? Well, it's easy. I'm purpose-driven. It's easy for me to sift and sort. I don't live through my kids. I'm their mentor. They will watch their father and me live a good life, just like I watched my parents. And they can be I want to be their mentor. Do you know that kids, recently there was a study on children and who their mentor was? This is just the last 2 years they did this study to a bunch of high schoolers, and they did not pick their parents. They picked football stars, TV, actors and actresses, and singers, people they didn't even know. Okay? That's sad. Okay? Any of you that are young parents, there's a really good book called Fearless Parenting. Okay? See, here's the deal. Let your kids be kids. Okay? I had a job to do. I was going to show them how to serve, how to work, and they were going to mirror what I did. Because guess what, guys? Leadership is caught, not taught. Okay? They watch how you treat people. They watch what you do. And so, to be that mentor, I had to live that life. And sometimes it's just easier to live through your kids and let them live the life, the dream, and not you live the dream. Does that make sense? Here's a great example. My youngest son, William, is very talented in music and in theater and acting. He hated sports. He was not my other two kids. My other two kids always picked a sport. P.S. They picked one sport because that's all. I said I couldn't do 125 shows a year. They couldn't do 125 ball games in a year. Okay? We were all going to, be smart about that because we're purpose-driven. Right? And so William never got into sports, and it was never his gig. All right? So he decided to, or one of my friends one time said, have you ever thought about putting him in acting? He can command a room like nobody's business. I always say he reminds me of a little Andy Horner. He, we'd have jewelry events at my house, and he would go to the front door with his necktie on and suit coat, answer the door. You want to talk about another thing that Premier will help your kids do? Be emotionally intelligent. Being able to communicate with adults. My kids are getting job interviews and nailing them. You know why? Because they've heard it their whole life. Wrap your head around that. Okay? Leadership is caught more than taught. All right? So back to Will. He does really good in this acting thing. We got him in this special thing, and it's his little outlet. And, the instructor says, hey, I want to take you guys to New York. There's about 5 of you I want to take to New York. And, it's just a fun little thing we can do. And there's going to be a lot of people there. At that time, I was super busy with my Premier business. It was the middle of the summer. This is about 6 years ago. And I'm doing tons of shows and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. And I just didn't really pay attention to how big it really was. But I just showed up. We were in New York with Will. We made it a family vacation. It was 4 days. And it was called IMTA. Anybody ever hear of it? So, International Model, something, acting, talent agencies. So basically, all the top TV shows from the East Coast and West Coast were there. And what they do is they had a horde of 5,000 kids, and then they pick kids to do TV commercials and shows. I had no clue. I had really no idea. I just thought it was some kind of acting skit, and he'd get a grade on it, and we'd get an award for it, right? So Will does it. It's 2 days, and I'm with him, and my family's out playing, and Will gets into. He's 9 years old. He gets all the way through to like 30 kids out of 5,000 kids, and they go. 5 agents literally came right to me and said, "We can have him in a TV show or a movie within 6 months. Let's move to LA. Let's get him to LA. We can see him in like a Steven Spielberg kind of thing because Will's kind of that little science nerdy kind of kid, magic kind of kid." And I'm like, "You're kidding me!" And long story short, we went home and we were just processing it all, and I go, "This is nuts. Like, I can't even believe this. And I'm like, how are we going to live? Like, how would that all work? And at the end of the day, we did some sifting and sorting, and what we said is, listen, is that really going to make Will the better version of Will at 9 years old? To be in a secular environment, to be away from his family, to not go to church every Sunday, to be secularized into the world? Hey, and P.S., the last thing I thought about is, I've never really known any childhood actor that usually ends up working out for their life in the long run, right? So then I start processing, I go, not so much, right? I had to make a decision as a parent. It's called sifting and sorting, right? And so, you guys are a part, the decision you're making to be a part of Premier, honestly, it's exciting because you're in a very purpose-driven company. And I'm telling you, the payoffs for it are going to be big. Sometimes you don't see it right now. You're going to see it in eternity. Okay? But it matters how you live your life. That stuff stacks up eventually. Okay? That's my mom's and my parents' tombstones. They knew all along what their legacy was. See, they saw the end in mind. So does Joan and Andy Horner. Look at their legacy museum. John Maxwell says there's one sentence that people will sum you up at the end of your life. What do you want that sentence to be? Wrap your head around that one. Okay? We know what Joan and Andy's would be, right? Enrich every life they touched. Globally. Because he followed God's will. He followed the call. He was purpose-driven. If you haven't read the book, Purpose-Driven Life, please read it. Okay? But my parents also knew. Their legacy was Mike, Steve, Jim, Susie, Patty, John, Don, Bill, Jane, Carol, Nick, Tim, and Beth. So guess what? The pressure's on. That means, Jane, if you're going to live your life, you better live it with purpose. Okay? That's the mentors I have. Now, here's what I'm going to say. Some of you might be saying, hey, Jane, you're lucky. I didn't have a mentor like that in my life. I have a lot of really, really good friends and a lot of people I go to church with that never had strong mentors in their life growing up. And I want to tell you, I bore immense respect for people and some of my closest friends who didn't have that influence in their life. Because at the end of the day, I have no excuses. I was shown, it was caught, I should get it, and if I don't, it's my own darn fault. It's my own free will. But for those of you that did not have a strong mentor in your life, good for you. That you are living out a purpose-driven life beyond the obstacles you had. And sometimes you don't take things for granted. I took a lot of things for granted growing up. I thought everybody came from great families. I thought everybody had a big, loving family. I thought that's just what it was. Found out a lot different as things would go on. Okay. So, in every moment of your life, you make a decision for God or against God. Every decision you make has a supernatural value and effect that will last for eternity. And that is the facts. How about faithful servants never retire? You can retire from your career, but you'll never retire from serving God. Did Andy and Joan ever really retire? No. My parents never did either. Once they raised pretty much 3 sets of families, because that's about, if you really look at it, they raised 3 families. Like maybe 4 average families. Man, you raise 1, you think it's tough. They raised like 4. Okay? Then they started a food bank for their local church. They built a food bank for our local church and did that to the day they died. Okay? Next one. That's my family. That's all my brothers and sisters. My mom had passed away by then. So there's all of us 13. And what I can tell you is when you live a life with that big, you do realize that life's not about you. And how did it help me in Premier today? Think about it. was very advantageous. Because when I started building a downline, when I started working with Premier, when I started doing all this style approach stuff, to me, the circle just can keep getting bigger. Next page. That's a weekend at my parents' house. So for me, that's normal. I didn't get into Premier for more family and friends. Okay? But I'm an includer. I will very actively avoid clicks. I hate clicks. I want everyone, and I'm going to make this circle as big as you can. If you come to me, I'm going to say, come on in. So when I started laying out this whole style approach, guess what I was doing? Please listen. Please understand. Please see. I want you to be a part of it. That's just the way it was. The next is become a better version of yourself. Really quick, can we go back the slide really quick? I'm going to say one thing. The other thing is that most of you that hold you back in living out your purpose, and the hardest thing for me, I was 34 years old before I figured it out. So some of you that are that age, I'm going to talk to you guys too. Some of you older, some of you younger. But I compared myself horribly to my siblings. Horribly. That was the hardest part about growing in a big family. I considered myself I thought I was stupid. Honestly. Because I had so many smart brothers and sisters, intellectually smart, that I compared my creativity to their math skills. When you compare yourself, you compare your weaknesses to someone else's strengths. Okay? God cannot use you when you're doing that. It took Premier Designs, where I could be my own entity, do my own thing, work for this company, and live and identify my strengths. And if you haven't identified your strengths, you need to through the Strength Finders. You know, Shay did that when we went to Haven, but the Strength Finders test is powerful to find out what your strengths are. So if you haven't done that yet, you need to. Top 5, you need to know what they are. Because what you got to do is you got to stop comparing yourself. Stop downing yourself. I never thought I would ever make it to be successful in any way, any level, any format, any way in my life. I thought that most of my life. So, if I thought that, I'm probably thinking most of you kind of think that. Right? Don't compare yourself to others. Run in your own lane, identify the strengths God has given you, and that will go on to the next. Become the best version of yourself. This is huge. This is when this things start happening, right? So when I got into Premier, I realized, man, I knew life wasn't about me. I knew I was purpose-driven, okay? I knew I had to get beyond you. I got all that. Then what I had to realize is I started leading a team. And I thought, I don't know how to lead these guys. How do I lead these guys? And I figured, here's the deal. If I focus on becoming a better version of myself, right? Because here's the leadership is influence. It's not a title. So those of you that think you don't have a title, it doesn't matter. There are a lot of people with big titles that have zero influence. Okay? So you have to be able to understand it and see, you know what? Your job is just to work on you. You have to become a better version of yourself. That's really what we're called to do anyway. To be all that God has created us to be, to live that abundant life, we got to. Okay? So that's how He uses us. So you have to discover who you are and who you aren't. Right? So I'm a nerd when it comes to that. I read a lot of books to kind of figure out who I am and who I wasn't. And you'll get on that journey. And if you do, it's going to behoove you in every area of your life. It's going to make you a better parent, a better wife, a better Christian, a better Premier stylist. Okay? And so when you do that, you're allowing people around you to become stronger. Because the stronger you become, the stronger they become. Okay? So I have a lot more influence on leading myself well than leading someone else well, right? If I lead myself well, they go, I want to be like Jane. I want to lead like that. Instead of me trying to lead someone else and not working on myself, right? There's a problem with that, right? Because, from emotionally, mentally, physically, and intellectually and spiritually, I just work on doing that myself. That's all I do. I focus on me. Because if I can become a better version, I'm going to take that and use it for God's glory to serve others. Okay? And I'm going to become an influence that way. So I encourage you all. I was listening to Jamie, one of my stylists that came today, and she said, Jane, I've been listening to podcasts on the way to work. Bam. That's how you become a better version of yourself. Okay? So when you ask me, how did you come up with this style approach? How did all of this, when you start rolling out everything we laid out with this, you're going to go, where did all that come from? Well, it came from God. But I also did some work. He gave me the vision. He gave me the foresight. But he also gave me these principles to be working with. And I knew I had to learn to become a better version of myself so I could be purpose-driven leader for a time as such as... Okay. Your talent is God's gift to you. What you do with it is your gift back to God. All right? We all cannot do this by ourselves. We need each other. We're better together. Right? All of this approach, honestly, is just in the major starting phases where you guys will make it better if you adopt it. And we will all be team players and helping each other, encouraging. Like all those documents that are on Premier's website, right? We could have easily made a store and said, janefrancis.com, buy them from me. Right? Why not? We made them. No, we didn't make them. God made them. And it wasn't for us, and we didn't do it for that. We did it for Premier, and we did it for you. Because that's what I'm called to do, because I'm purpose-driven. Okay? So you can see, but that took team effort for that to happen. Right? And when you're abundance in thinking, you're not worried about being stingy. Or a lone ranger or live your own, like I'm not going to share any of my material with anybody because I don't want anybody to have it because da-da-da-da-da. Do you see how my childhood forced me not to be that way? Do you guys see it now? Okay, that's my heart. That's my story. That's the thread. That's what God has put in front of me. Okay. Next, one of my brothers is a vice president in Microsoft. About 6 years ago, he said to me, Jane, you need to read this book. It's called The Mindset. And he knew I like to read because I'm always looking at becoming a better version of myself. So even though I never used to read, anybody not read? A lot of us. You know what? Learn to like it. Leaders are readers. It's just like exercise. Once you do it, you're going to go, man, this is really good. Because what it does, you guys, it helps you, when you read, it helps with the way you think. Okay? So the way I think determines my attitude, determines my actions, which determines my results in life. Right? So when I would read, I wouldn't read and say, man, I'm that. I would read a book and go, oh man, I'm not that. I got to do that. Or I never thought of it like that. Or it's insight, right? See, knowledge is power. So I read this book and he says, Jane, it'll change everything. He goes, at Microsoft, we are mandated to read this book. And P.S. now, Microsoft, if you go in for an interview, you will take a test to see if you're a growth mindset or fixed mindset. And they will only hire you if you're a growth mindset. Think about it. It's a technology industry. It's changing at a lightning pace, which has affected our world, right? Which has affected our business. Okay? Whether you want to admit it or not, it has. Okay? So here's the deal. Opportunity. A growth mindset is always, and here's the good, anybody have kids? Great book if you have kids. This book was really written. It was by a psychologist. Her name is Carol Dweck. But she wrote this book initially for teachers. Now major corporations are using this book. I sent Tim Horner the first 5 pages of this about 2 months ago. Mindset. And basically in the book he says he sees a stark difference with people who have a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. I can go into a lot of detail, but I'm going to keep it simple. The point is when I was reading the book, I could see how I had a fixed mindset in a lot of areas. So, for example, do you park your car in the same parking spot at your day work every day? Or at church? Do you sit in the same pew? Do you go to the grocery store and buy the same things? Okay? So I would notice that I have that tendency to do kind of stay in my comfort zone and have that fixed mindset of kind of staying that way. Where I have a growth mindset is I'm always learning and focusing on how to get better. See, my parents never told us we were the best, ever. You know what they would tell us? Do a job, big or small, do it right or not at all. So in other words, keep getting better. Okay? So they would work on that. Keep getting better. That's good. Keep working. And they really focused on our character traits more than anything. Okay? P.S. As a young parent, if you tell your kids they're the best, you're actually throwing them in a fixed mindset, which is detrimental once they get older. Because once they get older and they get in this position and they've been told they're the best their whole life and they fail, they go, you lied to me, Mom. I'm not the best. Well, listen. No one's ever. The only person that's the best is God. Okay? So have that mindset of constantly learning and being open. You guys, we're at times where it's going to be crucial in Premier in the next 10 years. If you really don't have an open mind and have a growth mindset, this is really going to get, business is going to get really tough for you. Because why? Change is inevitable. It is happening everywhere, every industry, every place, and it's the new normal. It's never going to stay the same for a 10-year period anymore. Those days are gone. Okay? So we've got to adapt and adjust to a growth mindset. So learn about that, understand that. Next one. God determines your greatness by how many people you serve, not how many people serve you. The only really happy people are those who have learned to serve. And that really is true. Study after study after study after study after study. And I'm a total nerd on reading. I read like a machine now. Okay? But I will tell you that it is more people are depressed and struggled, and depression is real. But when you really learn to get out and serve, it gives you the ultimate most joy, because we have a God-sized hole in our heart. And if that's only filled by God and the purpose we have. Only thing that can fill it. Nothing else will fill it. So people, if you're trying to fill it with something else in your life, you're never going to be happy. Never. So that's when, you hear Joe talk about you can't outgive God, serve without expecting anything in return. So next slide. It's better to give than to receive. The only way you can serve God is by serving other people. That's that. I really quick, when this whole style thing started, in about 2012, 2013, I was in an executive director meeting. I remember the exact wall and the place I was sitting at. And one of the things that came up in the meeting was people aren't doing as many home shows as they used to. We were seeing the numbers, the amount of shows declining. Okay? And everybody was saying things like, well, maybe we need to get more incentives for people to work. Maybe we need to do bigger trips. Maybe we need to do... And here my brain's thinking, I'm purpose-driven, so I'm intrinsically motivated. I intrinsically motivate my team. I teach my team to be purpose-driven. So that stuff doesn't motivate me because I've been raised different, but I know some people are. But at the end of the day, it was very clear to me. I'm like, God, if we can figure out And back then, I didn't know what it looked like. But I go, God, I know what it is. We got to learn what the new serving looks like. And I'm not sure what that looks like. But that is what has carried us for 30 years in Premier. So if we can figure out what that new serving looks like and build the bridge to a strong service to our customer, we win. But I'm not sure what that looks like. Gayla said it a different way. If we can find a way to keep it personal to today, that's what we have to figure out. But none of us knew what that looked like. Because in a mind, think about it, we've always done the same things in our business. The mindset, we've done this, keep it simple because it make it duplicatable. We've been taught all these things for 30 years. Do this, do that, do this. We were somewhat like robots. Okay? Not in a bad way. It worked. All right? So, I will tell you, back then, it started hitting me. And I also knew back then, lifestyles were changing. Women's lifestyles were getting busier. People would say to me, oh, Jane, people's lifestyles aren't getting busier. And I'm like, all right. But it was. God is looking for people to use. And if you can get usable, he will wear you out. And I'm physically worn out. The most dangerous prayer you can pray is use me, God. Okay, next one. It's all for him. The ultimate goal of the universe is to show the glory of God. It's the reason for everything that exists, including you. God made it for his glory. Without God's glory, there would be nothing. Okay? Never confuse the methods with the message. The message must never change. Enrich every life we touch. But the methods must change with each new generation. Does that make sense? The reason for everything. And this is, I can't read it from there because my eyes are so bad. Everything comes from God alone. Everything lives by his power. And everything is for his glory. Romans 11:36. The Lord has made everything for his own purpose. Proverbs 16:4. So, the next is just this. I'm going to show you some powerful things. The first thing I'm going to say, does this pop off? Mm-hmm. Oh, I would have been walking around all the time if I knew that. Okay, so I knew back in 2012 that things were changing. I was reading a lot. I was paying attention to all the articles, reading like a crazy woman, and also working in the field. Well, then in 2014, back then, 2012, we called it the Style Session. You guys remember that? I remember doing at National Rally a training on the Go collection for the busy woman. Remember that? 2014, we did, my husband and I got transferred to Fort Wayne, Indiana. So we moved to Indiana 2 hours away, and it was in 2014, and I felt like a brand new jeweler, okay? Because I moved to a new area. And I pretty much was resigned to the fact, in my mind, I had read the book, The Mindset, gee, just act like you're a brand new stylist. You know, you will ever find my title anywhere on anything that I have, because I don't see myself as an executive director. I see myself as a stylist. You know, I want you to have an open mind. You know, I never want to say I've arrived, right? So I started working my business and I started seeing changes, okay? Here's one exact change that I saw. I was in the car with my real estate agent looking for a house in Fort Wayne. I'm thinking, she'll be the first one that does a show for me, right? So I'm in the car with her, and anybody know that Fort Wayne is and Indiana overall is a very conservative town. I mean, women have the same clothes in their closet they've had for 15 years, right? Oh, yeah. That's it. Okay? So I'm in the car with my realtor. She's super nice. I hit it off with her. I can pretty much get along with anybody. You guys, I've gotten along with a lot of people in my life. My family, okay? I get along with anybody, all right? Everybody's my friend. So we're talking with her, we're driving, we're going, and she goes, "What do you do, Jane?" Like midway, halfway through. She goes, "You're on the phone, you're talking to people." She goes, "What do you do?" And back then, I led with my what. Okay, I said, "Well, I'm a jewelry rep. I sell jewelry. I sell a line of jewelry. I'm a jewelry rep." And she goes, "Oh, that's cute." She goes, "I don't wear jewelry." All right, I'm going. When you take the strength, anybody take the Strength Finder test? One of my top 5 strengths is self-assurance. So sometimes I have to research everything, and I know it inside and out, backwards and forwards, and that's just kind of goofball I am. But if I say something, I mean it, and I'm pretty confident in it, right? And so my self-assurance kind of took over, and I put my hand on her shoulder after she said that to me. "I don't wear jewelry," and I go, "And you should." Okay? Really? With a really sweet smile, but you should. And she goes, "You should?" And she goes, "I should?" I go, "Carly, let's talk about this. Look at the homes you're selling." I said, "When you go and sell homes, what home sells faster? The one that's pulled together with the details, or the one that's been ransacked?" I said, "You are selling yourself." And I said, but see, that's the first ding, ding, ding for me. Because how many of you have gotten the word, "I don't wear jewelry"? Would you like to do a jewelry show? "I don't wear jewelry." What happens after that? Crickets. You're done. The conversation is completely ended. Okay? Hey, guys, want to hear something big? We have been serving to the consumer. P.S., it's worked for the last 34 years. But we have been serving to the consumer who understands jewelry. The 10%. Can I tell you? 90% of women don't even understand what jewelry can do for them. I can guarantee it. Do you believe it? And if you don't believe it, you hear things like, "You're going to have to come home and dress me." "Sarah, how do you like your jewelry that you got?" "I haven't worn it yet." "Will you go shopping with me?" "Will you show me how to wear that again?" I mean, all the questions, all those things they were saying to you over the years, guess what? It went right over our heads. We were not focused. Here are these women. The next big ding, ding, ding God showed me was my own daughter. We're in Fort Wayne. We just got there, and she's at home for the summer from college, and she's getting dressed and getting ready, and we're getting ready to go out to dinner. And I go, "Julia, we gotta go. What's taking you so long?" So I go in there, and she goes, "I have nothing to wear." She had a closet full of clothes, a duffel bag full of clothes, and a bunch of clothes laying on her bed. And I go, "What do you mean?" This is my daughter who's never liked to shop, who's never seen the value in jewelry, who took forever to get dressed, and who always wore the same things. And she lived in my house. You guys, that's 90% of the women. So we've been marketing to the 10%, not the 90%. So when you say jewelry, think about it twice. It's noun. It's what it is. Okay? So here's the golden circle, and you're going to see the video of Simon Sinek here in a second. Okay? Here's what Simon is going to tell you. No, we don't want you guys to miss this. I read this book too. This was part of the journey for me to understand what we had to do and change in Premier. Okay? What? How? Why? We have been, want a jewelry show? Get free jewelry. We can do it at your house. Why? Because you get free jewelry. So it would be free. So it would be what? It'd be, do you want jewelry? We can do a jewelry show. We can get it for free. Well, what happens if they don't wear jewelry? Okay? Big problem. Okay? So let's watch Simon Sinek and why he says Apple and all big companies are changing their approach. They're not leading from the what. They're leading from the why. They're leading this way out. They're not leading this way in. Jewelry is a noun. It's what it is. Style is why. It's an action verb. Watch the difference. You're fine.
Dawn, we love you.
You know what?
Give her a hand.
She is the hardest job. She is the hardest. Don't worry, Dawn.
You guys, while she's doing that, and I see you trying to take pictures, Dawn is going to take these slides and put them on the group. So don't worry if you can't see all the slides.
Awesome.
Should we go to, can we go right to YouTube and grab it?
Yeah, they probably can.
Don't worry about it. Let's go to, yeah, just go to YouTube. So do you guys see and understand that? It's really powerful.
There we go.
Who's watched this video before? Okay.
Pay attention.
Turn it up nice and loud so they can hear it too.
This little idea explains why some organizations and some leaders are able to inspire where others aren't. Let me define the terms really quickly. Every single person, every single organization on the planet knows what they do 100%. Some know how they do it, whether you call it your differentiating value proposition or your proprietary process or your USP. But very, very few people or organizations know why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean to make a profit. That's a result. It's always a result. By why, I mean what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? Why does your organization exist? Why do you get out of bed in the morning? And why should anyone care? Well, as a result, the way we think, the way we act, the way we communicate is from the outside in. It's obvious. We go from the clearest thing to the fuzziest thing. But the inspired leaders and the inspired organizations, regardless of their size, regardless of their industry, all think, act, and communicate from the inside out. Let me give you an example. I use Apple because they're easy to understand and everybody gets it. If Apple were like everyone else, a marketing message from them might sound like this. We make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? Meh. And that's how most of us communicate. That's how most marketing is done, that's how most sales is done, and that's how most of us communicate interpersonally. We say what we do, we say how we're different or how we're better, and we expect some sort of behavior, a purchase, a vote, something like that. Here's our new law firm. We have the best lawyers with the biggest clients. We have, we always perform for our clients, do business with us. Here's our new car. It gets great gas mileage. It has, leather seats. Buy our car. But it's uninspiring. Here's how Apple actually communicates. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? Totally different, right? You ready to buy a computer from me? All I did was reverse the order of the information. What it proves to us is that people don't buy what you do, people buy why you do it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. This explains why every single person in this room is perfectly comfortable buying a computer from Apple. But we're also perfectly comfortable buying an MP3 player from Apple, or a phone from Apple, or a DVR from Apple. But as I said before, Apple's just a computer company. There's nothing that distinguishes them structurally from any of their competitors. Their competitors are all equally qualified to make all of these products. In fact, they tried. A few years ago, Gateway came out with flat-screen TVs. They're eminently qualified to make flat-screen TVs. They've been making flat-screen monitors for years. Nobody bought one. And Dell came out with MP3 players and PDAs. And they make great quality products, and they can make perfectly well-designed products. And nobody bought one. In fact, talking about it now, we can't even imagine buying an MP3 player from Dell. Why would you buy an MP3 player from a computer company? But we do it every day. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. When we communicate from the outside in, yes, people can understand vast amounts of complicated information like features and benefits and facts and figures. It just doesn't drive behavior. When we communicate from the inside out, we're talking directly to the part of the brain that controls behavior, and then we allow people to rationalize it with the tangible things we say and do. This is where gut decisions come from. You know, sometimes you can give somebody all the facts and your figures, and they say, I know what all the facts and details say, but it just doesn't feel right. Why would we use that verb? It doesn't feel right. Because the part of the brain that controls decision-making doesn't control language. And the best we can muster up is, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. Or sometimes you say you're leading with your heart, or you're leading with your soul. Well, I hate to break it to you, those aren't other body parts controlling your behavior. It's all happening here in your limbic brain, the part of the brain that controls decision-making and not language. But if you don't know why you do what you do, and people respond to why you do what you do, then how will you ever get people to vote for you or buy something from you, or more importantly, be loyal?
People do not buy your product. They buy the solutions, your solutions to their problems. Okay? They don't know why. They don't know what they don't know. The 90%, they don't know why jewelry is valuable. So you might think, Jane, you talk style, but we sell jewelry. We're leading with the why. Would it matter to you, Carly, if I could help create 10 outfits in your closet so when you go, grab and go to go do an appointment or a showing, you had grab and go incredible looks you never thought in your closet? Would that matter to you? Would it matter to you if I could show you how to shop smart? Would it matter to you if I could save you 15 minutes every morning? Would that matter to you? Would it matter to you if I could show you the working parts of your closet so when you pull your look together, it's 1, 2, 3. Would that matter to you? Would it matter to you if I could help get your confidence back? That I could show you how style is made easy and you can have it so simply and rock your own look. Would that matter to you? See what I'm saying, guys? We're leading through the why, not the what. If we're leading through the what, we're hearing lots of crickets. Do you know why? Because the consumer is getting an average of 3,000 messages a day. If you cannot communicate your communicate your message in a story and very clear, they don't know why they'll ever need you. Because think about it. They can go anywhere to get anything at any time. That's our new world. Okay? So there is a method to the madness. Now we're going to watch another video. And this is, as I was going through all of this in 2012, but a few years ago, I heard, this is only about, I don't know how old this song is, maybe a year or two, but when it first came out, anybody, Fresh Eyes, the song Fresh Eyes by Andy Grammer. He's a great guy. I love his music. He's so inspirational and so positive. But that was one of my theme songs. Like when I would say, God, help me think. God, help me understand. And I would work with, you guys, who I learned the most from was our customers. I asked them tons of questions. And what I realized is, if I listened to them, because for so many years I was the presenter. I presented to them. They listened to me. I stopped doing that, and I started listening to them and understanding their needs. And once I started realizing, you know what, this style thing, what I'm realizing is most women don't feel like they have it. And it's really made me sad. Because for the most part, I kind of learned it through Premiere. I was a nurse. I didn't have much style at all. I wore scrubs. I was in mommy mode. But I knew through the years, you learn some tricks of the trade, right? So your style is a journey. Here's the deal, guys. Style is completely learned. You're not born with it. You're born naked. Okay? Style is learned and is developed. And you can help every woman develop style. Why? So she can be the best version of herself inside and out. When you know you feel good on the outside, it helps you what? Feel good on the inside. And nobody can deny that. And if you do, come talk to me at break time. Okay? But when you've just been really sick and you feel horrible, and you go out, you don't have your makeup on, or you go to, you know what I'm talking about. You don't feel good about yourself. Do you know what, you guys? I think that's 90% of women. I think we're missing the 90%, which makes me so sad. So let's watch. So I got this. I even would tell Tim, I got a theme song. It's Fresh Eyes. So as we're going through this journey, I would just share with him, hey, here's what I'm thinking. I'd send him an email, send him an article, and he was listening, he was understanding, he would just share me, talk to me, tell me about it. And you know what? You got a president who cares about you guys. He wasn't going to shut it down. He was going to listen and understand it. And he just felt God moving me through this journey. He could see it. And I'd say, I'm reading, I'm watching, I listened to this. I sent him this video. I'm like, you got to listen to this song. But I never watched the video. And when I go work out, and I'd be thinking, because I do a lot when I'm working out, I think, or read, and I'm listening, and I go, oh my gosh, I love this song. This is so inspirational to me. Well, then just about a month and a half ago, or right before Christmas, I should say, I actually saw the actual video of the inspirational song through this whole thing, having a new, fresh set of eyes for our customers, right? Because that's how I viewed it. But watch what the video is about.
I got these friends.
So that's been,
Thank you so much for watching my Fresh Head video this week.
so that 90% of those women need us. The 10%, we'll take them too. But we haven't been marketing to them. Because the girls that would say no to our jewelry shows probably never felt worthy. That they could even, that could be them. So, they don't think, they just only think certain people can have style, certain few people can feel good about themselves. But maybe they never felt they were worthy to feel that way. So we have to be able to understand and communicate a different way so we can fulfill our purpose in the next 10 years and beyond in our company. Share more later. Okay?